collapsing in the triple-digit heat.
When I seen her, I was just in tears. I couldn't believe that she was okay.
One Denver mother is looking for the Good Samaritan who helped her daughter get out of the sun as Colorado breaks more heat records.
I just want to thank him so much because I would have never known she was laying out there.
And as you turn up your AC, Xcel Energy is looking to increase your bill.
And who knew buying a home could lead to an unlikely friendship?
She's like, Ginger, your dad and I have stayed at this house. We know Miss Ellen.
How one quick sale connected two families in more ways than one.
Usually we're happy when anything in Colorado or any Coloradan breaks a record.
These are not the records we're talking about here. Good evening. Thank you for joining us at 6. I'm Shannon Ogden.
I'm Ann Trujillo, and now here's a closer look at what exact records we broke today. For starters, Denver hit 100 degrees again. The previous record was 98, and that was set back in 2012.
Also, this is the third straight day we hit 100 degrees in Denver, and this is only the 6th time this has ever happened in Denver, and only the 2nd time it's occurred in June. All right, let's turn it over to our expert here, Mike Nelson.
And Mike, please tell us some cooler weather is coming and soon.
It is, and soon, which is good news. This is the earliest 3-day stint of triple-digit weather we've ever had. Now, granted, it's a little hotter at DIA than it would have been at the old site near where Stapleton Airport was for many, many years, but climate change is also playing a role here as the world gets warmer. 100 Denver, Fort Collins, 101 at Greeley. For the highs, they were still in the 90s, even upper 90s at Greeley at this hour. We have fire weather warnings over southwest Colorado down in the mountains there, an ozone alert across the Front Range. There are a few cooling thunderstorms around. They won't bring a whole lot of rain. You'll get gusty winds, a spit of rain, maybe a rumble of thunder, but it will cool things off a little bit for this evening, and it's a sign of things to come. This is how it looked this afternoon. A lot of haze in the atmosphere and just a few of those darker skies around. But there's a cold front just entering northeast Colorado, and that's going to slip southward. Isolated evening storms, the smoke and haze continue, but as that front moves past us late tonight and tomorrow, cooling relief is on the way. Along with the cooler temperatures, there's a better chance of some rain over the weekend.
And on 100-degree days like today, last thing you want is to be stuck outside. Well, that's what happened to one Denver woman who was trying to go to a doctor's appointment in Lakewood this afternoon, and her ride accidentally dropped her off in the wrong area. And when she realized she was in the wrong spot, it was just too late, and that's when she collapsed in the heat. Well, thankfully, strangers nearby rushed to help, and one man in particular offered to drive her to her mother's house about a mile away.
What I'm trying to do is find this gentleman to thank him that he saved my daughter, because I wasn't there. And I really want to get in touch with him.
So if you possibly know who this Good Samaritan is she's talking about, or may have been near Wadsworth and 20th when this woman collapsed today, reach out to us. You can send us an email at contact7@thedenverchannel.com.
The Denver Fire believes cut down trees on Denver's Loretto Heights campus were intentionally set on fire this morning. And Denver7 has gone in depth on the battle between neighbors and developers who want to transform the old campus into a multi-use space. Last weekend, we were there when neighbors protested dozens of trees being cut down by the developers, and those trees, the ones burning this morning, were to be donated to local woodworkers and sawmills to be repurposed. Well, Denver Fire says this investigation is ongoing.
Xcel Energy wants to increase the fees you pay. They say it's to keep up with rising natural gas and electricity costs, and is asking the Colorado Public Utilities Commission to approve the new rates. So here's a closer look now at what they would be. So for electric, customers would see about a $2 increase per month. Small businesses, they're looking at a $3 increase. And as for gas, small businesses would see a $7 increase. And by the way, these increases, they'll likely be approved.
Buying a home at or below asking price in Colorado is becoming increasingly difficult.
Now, over in Estes Park, not only did one couple find the house of their dreams, they also found a lasting friendship with the seller.
Denver7's Gary Brode has their story.
The view is an inspiration to me.
After looking beyond the backyard to Long's Peak, Ellen Schroeder knew this was meant to be her home.
I would look out the window almost every morning and quote the psalm, I lift up mine eyes into the hills, from whence comes my help.
She bought the Estes Park house nearly 30 years ago. This year, Ellen knew the time had come to let go of the home and move into assisted living.
I just made the decision and thought it was a good one and did it. And Hadn't had any pangs until I walked in today.
It's the first time the 90-year-old great-grandmother has been in her old home since moving out in April. The woman sitting next to her is Ginger Brainerd, who just moved into the home with her husband a week ago.
After I talked to Ginger, I felt that they were the ones for this house. And to this moment, I feel that they're the ones to be here.
The Brainerds were looking for a home in Estes Park for nearly 6 months.
Houses were so hard to come by here.
As members of an international women's organization called PEO, Ginger and Ellen were connected through a mutual friend. Ellen didn't have to put the house on the market because the Brainerds decided to buy it. That's when the two came to find out they had more in common than they could possibly know.
This house is near a house that my family rented for a couple of summers, and so I told my mom that. She's like, Ginger, your dad and I have stayed at this house. We know Miss Ellen.
Beyond the house, both have a passion for philanthropy and are natives of Illinois. And in a very unusual coincidence, one of Ellen's late dogs was named Ginger. Not hard to see how a friendship could blossom.
I hold her very dear. She and her husband and her son.
Do you feel like you'll continue to have this kind of friendship and bond?
In Estes Park.
Oh, I hope so. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Gary Brode, Denver7.
Bet they do.
That's great.
Well, the Brainerds have no regrets about their home purchase.
Of course, that doesn't always work out for everyone else. Taking a closer look tonight, a new survey from Bankrate says about 33% of all baby boomers feel regret after buying a house. And that number skyrockets to 65% when you ask millennials. Retailers say younger people are more likely to rush into a purchase and may end up buying a home that they're not necessarily happy with. Some of the most common complaints about a home are location, maintenance, and size.
A mother accused of killing her son being transferred now to Las Vegas. Samantha Moreno Rodriguez was arrested last week in Denver. She was wanted for the death of her 7-year-old son, Liam, whose body was found in Nevada.
And a Denver jury has found 52-year-old Byron Whitehorn guilty of sexually assaulting 4 women. Police say Whitehorn targeted women outside bars in Denver's Lodo neighborhood and would offer them rides home. He will be sentenced in August. Essie Nakajigo was a champion for women in Uganda and had just moved to Colorado as a newlywed. Well, just over 1 year ago, she was on vacation with her husband at Arches National Park when she was tragically killed.
And now he is filing a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against the park. And he spoke with our Lance Hernandez.
The gate stopped behind my headrest. I can't imagine if we had a couple of passengers or something.
Ludovic Michaud still experiencing flashbacks to that horrific day when he and his beloved wife, Esther Nakajigo, were leaving Arches National Park. A gust of wind blew this unsecured gate into the passenger window, killing Esther.
Ludo himself escaped death by mere fractions of inches. It was where the spear went through. He just escaped by that much.
I believe she was my soulmate.
The software engineer says the last 12 months have been a struggle with bouts of PTSD.
I decided I would fight for myself and for Essie's family, try to, get better, try to keep working, and also to support our family.
He wants people to know what Esther means.
Esther means star.
At age 17, the Ugandan resident was given property to sell for her own tuition, but instead used it to open a hospital for women and girls who had been raped and neglected.
I want to be a star, to be able to light in the lives of the people who feel it's dark,
Attorney Deborah Chang says Esther accomplished more in her short life than many do in a lifetime. Her loss keenly felt in Uganda, where she was named Ambassador of Hope for Women and Girls, and where she started a reality TV show to help that population.
Many projects that were underway for women and children were stalled, and we lost this bright light. And so we brought this lawsuit.
The suit alleges wrongful death, negligence, and property damage. Michaud says he knows the suit won't bring his beloved wife back, but he says it will help him and her parents move on. Lance Hernandez, Denver7.
Forever remembering a historic day.
The only way that we can ever move forward is if we understand where we have gone.
Community leaders celebrate in Denver as the president makes Juneteenth an official national holiday. Plus, short-staffed and having to stay closed.
Approximately 1,200 of our staff, as a result of the pandemic, are not returning.
City rec centers are desperate for more workers as more than a dozen keep their doors shut. And counting down the days.
Denver's finalizing all the details for the All-Star Game.
We are cramming or have crammed 2 years of planning into 2 months.